What if Seed of Chucky wasn't the campy meta horror comedy we know today? Instead, we got a terrifying, blood-soaked sequel that leaned into psychological horror. That's exactly what Child's Play 5 was originally meant to be.
Wrong again, wimp!
Before studio interference and shifting horror trends turned it into something completely different. In this video, we're diving into the unmade version of Child's Play 5, the darker follow-up to Bride of Chucky that never saw the light of day. We'll break down the original plot, the characters and cast that were set to return, and then go into 3 big reasons why the film was never made, from studio meddling to changing horror trends. Stick around until the end, because we'll explain how all of this eventually led to the infamous Seed of Chucky. After the shocking ending of Bride of Chucky, where Tiffany gave birth to a mysterious doll child named Glen,
It's a boy!
The original Child's Play 5 picked up right where that cliffhanger left off, but with a much darker tone. The story followed Glen as he awakened to his parents' violent legacy, unlike the comedic take we eventually got. This version leaned heavily into psychological horror. Glen struggled with questions of identity, morality, and whether he was destined to become a killer like Chucky. Chucky, still voiced by Dourif, was planned to be fully resurrected, manipulating his child to embrace murder. Tiffany, portrayed by Jennifer Tilly, had a more tragic and conflicted role, torn between her love for Chucky and her desire to raise Glen differently. The climax was rumored to be an intense, horror-driven showdown, Glen forced to choose between destroying his parents or accepting his family's murderous bloodline. The ending was written to leave audiences unsettled, with no clear answer about whether evil could ever truly be escaped. In the unmade Child's Play 5, who were the cast and characters? Chucky, Dourif, the killer doll returned as expected, more manipulative than ever. Tiffany, Jennifer Tilly reprised her role, but in a far more serious and conflicted arc than the camp version we saw later. Glen, originally conceived as a darker, horror-focused character. Jesse and Jade, Nick Stabile, and Katherine Heigl. The survivors of Bride of Chucky were rumored for cameos, although Heigl's rising Hollywood profile made her return unlikely. New victims. Early drafts introduced law enforcement and occult figures, but casting was never finalized. Why was the original version of Child's Play 5 never made? The first major reason was the ongoing tone shift battles between Don Mancini and the studio. Mancini's early draft leaned heavily into psychological horror, with Glen's arc written as a disturbing exploration of identity and inherited evil. Dimension, however, felt the script was too dark to sell, especially coming off of the more comedic Bride of Chucky. Executives pushed for humor and marketability, reshaping the story until the original horror-driven vision was completely scrapped. The second reason came from Dimension Films' pressure after the success of Scream. By the early 2000s, executives no longer believed straightforward slashers could succeed on their own. Instead, they wanted meta horror and parody, movies that winked at the audience.
Rude. Doll.
Child's Play 5 became their testing ground for that approach. Glen's story, once intended as a dark metaphor for trauma, was gradually twisted into satire. And lastly, the overall state of the horror market played a huge role in shelving the original vision for Child's Play 5. By the early 2000s, slashers were seen as passé, while supernatural horror like The Ring and The Others dominated the box office. As financing stalled, momentum slipped, and when the project was finally revived, it had mutated into the Seed of Chucky.
I'm leaving. You can let yourself out. Oh, and by the way, Red Man, drop dead.
In short, Child's Play 5 was undone by a perfect storm of creative clashes, studio meddling, and a changing horror landscape. Mancini's darker draft was left behind, and what survived was a satirical experiment that divided fans for decades. So what we got in 2004 wasn't the terrifying, horror-driven Child's Play 5 Don Mancini first envisioned, but the satirical Seed of Chucky. Love it or hate it, that movie exists because of studio meddling, market trends, and creative compromises. Would you have preferred the darker psychological sequel, or do you think the campy Seed of Chucky is a guilty pleasure classic? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and let us know in the comments what's your favorite Chucky movie.